Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Delays in second dose of inoculation exercise due to vaccine shortage. Bernard Lodge Farmers and SCJ Holdings at it again over compensation and relocation. And later in sports, 4 new players in Reggae Boys' provisional roster for CONCACAF Gold Cup. I'm Giovanni Dennis and here are the details. People under 50 who have been scheduled for the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine will see delays as shortages force the government to prioritize. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, however, says efforts are being made to secure more vaccines in short order so the delay won't be protracted. Shamila Pullen reports.
Up to 30,000 people under the age of 50 who received their first dose of the COVID vaccine in April were scheduled to get the second dose this weekend. But a shortage has forced the government to change that plan. Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Melody Ennis, outlines the changes.
It will begin Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's the 18th, 19th, and 20th. For all those 3 days, it's persons over the age of 50 for their second dose at the sites that will be announced. Now, persons who have already received a text message, I'm sure you would have also got a second message to say to please disregard that message.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says until more shipments arrive, health officials will have to be selective in terms of who gets the doses that are left. But Dr. Tufton says there is no need for panic. He says shipments are expected in the coming weeks, including from the United States.
As said, we anticipate an allocation out of the U.S. based on the announcements and the discussions that are taking place within the next 2 weeks. We have ordered and paid for Johnson & Johnson starting in August, 1.9 million doses, not receiving all at once, but over several months, but starting in August. That is still on track, and we do expect to get additional supplies in July from the COVAX facility.
Meanwhile, Dr. Ennis says the ministry is working to vaccinate persons whose appointments have been pushed back within the recommended 12-week window. However, she says the second dose can also be administered beyond the 12 weeks.
The germ-fighting tools, they decline over time. But when you get to about 120 days in your 3-month period, you still are protected just by about 30%. And the recommendation, therefore, is between your 8th and 12th week for getting the second dose. Now, also recommended is if you have missed that 12-week mark, you are ready to get the vaccine as soon as possible after. We're not going to be restarting the schedule. It will just continue.
Shamila Pullen, TVJ News.
As the summer period approaches, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie is warning Jamaicans not to drop their guards on the COVID-19 restrictions. Dr. Bisesa McKenzie says presently, most of the major COVID indicators are going in the right direction. However, the country has still not achieved a positivity rate below 5%. As such, consistent application of prevention measures is still necessary.
To let our guard down now. We're going into a danger period if we take the experience from last year, where we saw that during the summer period, there were various activities and events that would have led to increased exposure and increased transmission rates. So this is not the time to let go of your precautions. Now is the time to ensure that you adhere to these precautions to keep the indicators going down.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton explained that while restricting gatherings has been the most effective control measure, the government has to consider the practical realities. He says these restrictions have been affecting the mental health of Jamaicans.
One of the things that has emerged over the last year or 15 months is the fact that the virus and the measures around restrictions come with side effects on our society, on our economy. From the social or psychosocial perspective, we have seen impact on, mental health. So persons who have been restricted to stay home have been impacted by anxiety, depression, not being able to pursue your normal habits of being with friends, family, just loneliness generally.
61 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed on Thursday from 866 samples. The country's overall case count is now 49,564. The positivity rate now stands at 6.9%. 5 new deaths have also been recorded, pushing the death toll to 1,028. In the meantime, 127 persons are hospitalized with the respiratory illness. 9 are critically ill. There are 19,836 active cases. Residents of Seaforth and its environs in St. Thomas can expect improved healthcare services at their community health centre soon. This following redevelopment plans for the facility. Speaking Thursday at an Adopt a Clinic ceremony at the Seaforth Health Centre, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the facility has been adopted by Canco Limited, which trades under the Linstead Market banner and the Separate Foundation. The adoption promises an investment of $6 million from the companies over the next 3 years to improve the facility.
There is a plan for the expansion of services in these parts in recognition of the numbers and the anticipated growth. This health center does about 1,000 patients per month, and I believe it will increase over time. And there are plans now for looking at environmental health, dental services, health records, clinical assessment, and an improvement in client services.
Dr. Tufton said other healthcare facilities in the parish will also be upgraded, adding that infrastructure development is slated for St. Thomas in anticipation of people moving into the parish once the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project and the Morant Bay Urban Centre are completed. Meanwhile, the Health Minister says the COVID-19 pandemic has revealed the need for investment in community health care island-wide.
Because 75% of the 1,000 plus victims of COVID, those who have died, are persons who suffer from some form of lifestyle-related disease. Age is a factor, 75% over 60, but they carry with them arthritis, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and I could go on.
It's one crisis after another between farmers and the Sugar Company of Jamaica Holdings over relocation at Bernard Lodge in Portmore, St. Catherine. The latest involves a farmer who has been plowing the same 12 acres of land for the past 12 years. O'Shane Masters has his story.
Where's my money? The cry of at least one farmer in Bernard Lodge, Portmore, St. Catherine, after plants and animal structures on his farm were destroyed recently by SCJ Holdings. Trevor Lee Houston says a letter was received from SCJ Holdings to vacate the property last year, but there was no follow-up by the Joseph Shakir-led organization. Hence,
we called Shakir, have a meeting with him, and he come, he toured the place, look around, we asked him, when we going to move? He said, we cannot move without we get money to remove.
Subsequently, Mr. Houston says valuators were sent to his property. He says valuations were done by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, on the farm products, while another company valued the buildings. But even before compensatory refunds could be received,
they go right through, buck down me soursop, some of them, and hockey, bearing trees, pear tree, plum tree, and we can't get nothing to hear how much me trees them value, how much me getting for them or not.
It has led Mr. Houston to question the intent of the government to farmers.
This government do not stand for small farmers. You hear? They're going to encourage you to you get fed up and leave. there is nothing for small farmers as to round this Bernal Lodge area here.
He says SCJ Holdings has identified lands in nearby Salt Pond for the relocation exercise. However, that comes with its own challenges: no water, no electricity, and deplorable road conditions. As for the next step,
But I like to see the Prime Minister because they tell me especially, that is the Prime Minister. Every time I go to them, they say the Prime Minister say, is the Prime Minister land. The Prime Minister want this piece of land, and is the Prime Minister said this. Well, I like the Prime Minister and the Minister of Agriculture, because I heard so much good plan from the Minister of Agriculture about farmers, but it just passing over our head. We are not enjoying nothing.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And Mr. Houston has been plowing that land for 10 years and not 12. It's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when we return.